And welcome back to Daytime here on Rogers TV.
Our thanks once again to Tim D'Souza and that recipe. If you're looking for it, I had a little taste in the break, of course, because that's what I do.
Yes.
And it is really good. And Tim said to me, you don't even have to, he said, I haven't even seasoned it yet. And then I tasted it and I said, what do you need to season it with? It tasted amazing. Go to our website, rogerstv.com, to get the recipe, because that one is a good one. Just saying. Okay, well, it's time now to talk injury prevention. It's a good thing.
Yes,
it is a good thing. With our friends from Empower Conditioning, we want to welcome back Kari and Natalie. Welcome. It's the first time on the couch for you.
Yes, first time on the couch.
All right. So we're talking injury prevention mainly for runners. And, you know, a lot of people might say, oh, well, what's involved with running, right? Like football players and hockey players, they're getting hit and they get injured, but runners do too.
Yeah, the thing is that we've got a whole slew of summer sport or summer runners. So there's a lot of people that do their summer running on trails or on the pavement or whatever outside, but now the days are getting shorter. And we're about to get snow. Any day now, either you've got cold water on the ground or you're going to get some slippery stuff. You're going to get a little ice patch here and there. So what we want to do, I've brought in Natalie, one of our experts, one of our therapists at Empower, to talk about some of the exercises that can be done in order to prevent some of the slips, the slides, the rolling an ankle, the landing on a hip, the throwing your back out, things like that that happen when you hit a slippery surface, when you can't see as well because the days are shorter if you're running in the morning or after work, or when it starts to get just not as grippy as it normally is in the summer and the warmer temperatures.
Yeah, and that's basically what it comes down to, Natalie, is adjusting to, you know, the environment that you're around during the winter, right?
And a lot of the things is the unknown, like when the surfaces change, like when it's summertime, even though depending on if you're a trail runner or a pavement runner or a sidewalk runner, even, you know, uneven sidewalk, that can, you know, if you're not looking down while you're running, even more important when it's darker to be aware of what you can see in front of you. And the ice is always unpredictable. Like sometimes it's just a sheet of ice everywhere, so every step you're taking is very tentative. And if you've trained for that by working your balance muscles or your proprioceptive muscles more, you're more apt to react appropriately if you do step on something and your foot skates out sideways, and now you can catch yourself better and then prevent a more long-term injury from happening.
And we learned that I don't really have very good balance. Had the chance to stop by Empower Conditioning, and Natalie, you took me through some exercises that sort of tested my balance in so many different ways, and you can walk us through what we're going to have a look at here in just a couple minutes. But it was really surprising to me how difficult actually some of these simple movements were. So what are we doing here?
So here, this is an exercise to strengthen the inner arch muscles of your foot. So basically just keeping your heel steady and scrunching that towel. And an exercise that's very simple is actually pretty challenging for a lot of people.
I'm getting a nice foot massage here. No, just kidding.
Just testing, again with the balance, we can use tools like this that we have in the clinic. At home, you can throw some couch cushions on the ground or a big stack of blankets. Once you're on an unstable surface, your body has to learn to react to that ground. So it's like mimicking being on ice, for example, if you're training outside. 2 foot easier than 1 foot, and then one of the things that, and here's using the home model, so if you take thick cushions or couch cushions that you can take off the couch, as long as you don't bottom out when you step on it, again, that's challenging that balance awareness. Here we're throwing in more of a sport specific, so mimicking a running action, stabilizing the hips, doing it on a stable ground first, and then moving that to an unstable surface again, where now we can see that there's a lot more wobble going on, and that's a lot more like being on uneven ground or on an icy surface. Very easy movement for a lot of people, but we cheat a lot when we go upstairs and when we're climbing things. So here I'm having you pull your back foot toes up so that you're engaging the core muscles, the hip muscles, to do the lifting that way instead of just pushing with your calf muscle to do that.
That last one that we were doing there, we discovered that I had a little bit of an issue, partly because I wear like heels every day, right? Yeah. So that can be troublesome when I'm running though, right?
Well, because you're taking away the heel, your Achilles tendon is being stretched a lot more, and therefore you know, that extra stretch that you get with your ankle going down further can cause a lot of strains, tendonitis, or irritation of that tendon, doing a lot more flexibility for both the gastroc muscle, which is the 2-joint muscle, and then the soleus muscle, which is a 1-joint muscle in your calf. by stretching your calf both with your knee bent and your knee straight. That way would be a way to prevent and gain some range of motion.
I joke around a lot that I think I could run a 5K race in heels faster and better than I could in running shoes. Like I really do.
I think you could too.
Yeah, it's true. It's so weird.
You'd have to go through, well, in training wise, you'll have to go through a few adaptations in order to feel comfortable being flat-footed because you're in heels so often, and so you'd have to go through that progression, that adaptation in order to feel solid flat-footed and not get some really reactive calves and tightnesses and little strains in the calves.
Flat shoes hurt me. Yeah. They really do. Like on my feet.
High heels hurt me.
And it's an adaptation that you've had because your body's used to that. Your body is adapted to that. Your knees are in a different position in heels. Your hips are in a different position in heels. Your back is in a different position. So everything changes kind of from the ground up, whether you're in flat shoes or in heels. And there's an adaptation to that. You know, just like we were speaking before the show, that, you know, with running, when you transition from outdoor running to treadmill running, a lot of people find that surface of the treadmill is a lot harder. They may get, you know, shin splints or front of the shin area pain, and a lot of times it's because, you know, if you're running on grass, that's a lot different than running on a treadmill.
And
if
that's
you're
what
running,
you get, right?
Yeah, exactly. And that's what we were talking about before, is
Yeah.
that, and you were saying that it's probably from going from nothing to a lot away.
Yeah.
It's more of a gradual increase in what
Yeah,
is
you
what
need to do the progression. If you don't, your body is going to react and respond. It's a stimulus, and we can handle small amounts and adapt to it, but if it's too much of a stimulus, then there's an over-response and it's difficult to adapt appropriately.
Well, and let's face it, if you have a situation where your body isn't responding in a positive way, for me, if something hurts, I'm going to stop doing it, right? I'm not going to do it as often, and I'm not going to put as much effort into it because it hurts.
And that's where, as a strength coach and as an athletic therapist, that's our jobs to try and push as much as possible to get as much adaptation as possible, whether it's recovery and rehabilitation or whether it's getting training responses, push as much as possible without taking it over the top to a poor response or an inflammatory response that's going to hurt someone.
So when someone does come like with an injury, if we're more about active recovery versus stopping all activity. So there's usually something that the person can keep doing and maintain all their other fitness levels that they've achieved through whatever workout regimen they're using. That, you know, no is not usually the first word we go to, that stopping everything altogether is not usually the best recipe either for them to have longer term recovery. So whether we transition from, you know, running on a treadmill to running in the pool or doing another activity that way, that they can still maintain what they like doing and keep their fitness level up, but still protecting the area that for now is vulnerable and needs to be cared for.
And you can, even though it is, you know, people think it's just running, but you can do a lot of damage to your body if you're not ready to do that running.
Running mechanics are pretty specific, and a lot of people don't have very good mechanics running, and then they wonder why their knees are sore and they wonder why their back gets sore. So.
All right. Well, ladies, thank you so much for stopping by today, and we'll see you at the gym soon, all right?
No problem.
Thank you.
Have a good one.
206 Piccadilly Street is where you can find Empower Conditioning. You can also find them online at empowerconditioning.com.
All right, it's time for Pet of the Day.